Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys an update to my Duston Yugioh deck profile for March 2018. Been actually a good little while since I did an update to this deck, and this deck's always been a favorite of mine to do an update to, just for all the different variants that I've made of this since the first release in which we could actually make a Duston deck profile with all the support. So let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. To start off, run 3 House Duston. This is probably the main card of the deck. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Dustons, their main point was that they don't do anything on their opponent's side of the field. You can't use them for an Xyz, Synchro, or Fusion, or Tribute them. So they're basically just stuck there. But with Link format now being a thing, you can use them for Link Summon, which I think is pretty cool. So the main point with House Duston is when it's destroyed, you special summon as many Dustons to both sides of the field. You just have to make sure that you summon an equal amount to both sides. Now the thing is, you want to make sure that either you use your Dustons properly, so you can take care of your opponent's Dustons on the field. Otherwise, you'll just be giving them a free basis to link summon with 5 monsters at most that you gave them, depending on if they have some monsters out on the field already. Like if they have 2 monsters out, then you have to summon 3 to their side and 3 to yours. So it's always best if they have like 1 monster and then they get 4 and you get 4. But then, like I said, use those 4 monsters to your best potential that you can, or like I said, they're just going to use them for Link Summon. And then for each of the Duston, 2 red Duston, and the pattern basically follows for all the other Dustons as well. They don't do too much on their own. House Duston is the one that sets them all up, but each one has a different effect. With red, the controller takes 500 damage when this card on the field is destroyed. And then I also run 2 green Duston. With this one, the controller targets 1 spell or trap they control, return that target to the hand. And then you can only control 1 of each color as well. So you have to remember that as well. You can't give your opponent 2 greens, or you can't have 2 greens. So just be wary with that. Also 2 yellow. With yellow, the controller targets 1 monster in their graveyard, shuffles it back into the deck. So a little more helpful than the first 2. With this, basically, reshuffle back House Duston into your deck if you want to reuse it. And also 2 blue Duston. With this one, the controller, you basically banish 1 random card from the controller's hand face down until the standby phase of the next turn. So not too bad either, but like I said, be careful with your own Duston because they could also give you negative consequences as well. And I also run 2 white Duston with this one. I actually grew fond of running this one, mostly because you can special summon 2 of this one to your side of the field, meaning you have more to work with these 2. You can either overlay with them, or you can use them for a link summon for, let's say, Link Spider, giving you the 2 options there. And then, depending on how you summon your opponent's Dustons, make sure you put them in the attack mode, obviously. You can swing into 2 of them, taking care of that with the 2 Link Spiders, dealing out some 2,000 damage, also along with the negative consequences. But you can also control the 2 white Dustons, so you're giving yourself 2 that, you know, don't negatively affect you in a bad way whatsoever. And I also run 1 Star Duston. Now this one cannot be normal summon. It must be special summon from your hand by sending any number of Dustons you control to the graveyard. And it cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card's attack and defense become equal to the number of monsters sent to the graveyard for its summon times 1,000. And your opponent cannot flip or special summon any monsters or activate any set spell or traps on the field. If you control more monsters than your opponent, destroy this card. So basically you're going to send all your Dustons to the graveyard to bump this guy up. 4,000, meaning if your opponent has a lot of Dustons left over, you don't have to worry about him being destroyed, but you lock down your opponent, meaning they can't really do anything and just have to sit and, you know, at the disposal of your Star Duston. Just 1 though, it's searchable with cards like Where Art Thou, so very easy to grab out from the deck. I don't really need any more than 1 because other than that, it's kind of a dead draw. Most of the time, you're just going to have 1 board of Dustons that you want to sweep through, so that's what you have to remember when you use this card. And that's it for the Duston lineup. Like I said, 2 and 2, and then the 3 house is, I think, the best. So you don't end up drawing too many of them, and hopefully you end up with House Duston in the hand sooner. If not, make full best of the ones that are still in the deck to summon out to the field. And for non-Dustins, I run 3 Stygian Security. With this, when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 level 1 Fiend-type monster from your deck. So grab House Dustin with this card, if need be. Anything important that can help in that situation. It's also a tuner. I don't have any Synchros in the deck myself, but if you want to run cards like Formula Synchron for a little extra draw, just remember you can't really use it with the colored Dustins in the deck. You have to use the either the white Dustins or the other level 1s that you run in the deck. And I also run 3 King Yugioh. Now with this, a little more Field Swarm for link help. With this one, when it cannot be special summoned when it's normal, you target 1 level 1 in your graveyard, special summon it, banish it when this card leaves the field. But, like I said, make full use of your link summon powers, your overlay, if you go into non-restricted Dustin monster options with that in the deck. And also 3 Battle Fader. This is just for additional protection. You know, when your opponent attacks, special this, have that monster on the field, and then hopefully go off with your plays on the next one. And I also run 2 Goblin King. I had 3 in the deck for the longest time, but 3 actually became a huge dead draw to me, mostly because I wouldn't have a field setup, and I would basically just have a monster in my hand with 0 attack that when I summoned it, at most, you know, would gain 1,000, and couldn't do much else. But with the 2, when I need it, I can get it, and then other than that, use that big hitter that when you have plenty of Dustins, if you left one in attack mode on your opponent's side of the field, putting him up to that 8,000 can swing into your opponent's 1 lone 0 attack point monster for game. That is it for the monsters of the deck. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Wear Off Thou. Like I said, this card is very, very helpful with this deck. If you control a face-up level 1 monster, add 1 level 1 monster from your deck to your hand. During the end phase, take 2,000 damage if you did not normal summon the added monster or a card with the same name after activating this card. Now, the 2,000 doesn't really hurt too much when you use it to search out Star Dustin, obviously, but grab cards like Goblin King that you need if the field is set up properly, or you can search out House Dustin like you want, and you have to control level 1, so using cards like Battle Fader to have it already specialed on the field if your opponent just lets it sit there, you have an easy search since you do have to control the 1 level 1 already. And I also run 2 Mystic Box. I've actually been a big fan of this card in the deck just because you target a monster your opponent controls and 1 monster you control, destroy the opponent's target, and then change control of the one that you had. So you're basically giving them one of your monsters, give them one of your weaker monsters, one of your less important ones, and then take care of some, you know, bigger threats that they have, basically. With this, you can get rid of like I said, big monsters that otherwise your monsters in the deck that you run wouldn't be able to get rid of. And then you can also basically just give them a Dustin that'll basically hurt them more later on. And to finish off the spells, the 1 for 1, once again, easy special summon. Grab whatever level 1 you need for that specific play that you're going for. And then moving on to traps. For the longest time, you know, Diamond Dustin's been out, and I haven't done an update to the deck for it, and I felt so bad about it because I think it's almost been a year since this card's been out. But when a card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon Dustin monsters from your deck to anywhere on the field equal up to the number of those destroyed. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 Dustin monster from your graveyard, special summon this card in defense as a normal monster, Fiend type, level 1, a 0 attack, 1,000 defense to your opponent's field. And this card basically then has the same requirements as the other Dustin monsters. So another annoyance, but easy special summon, good thing to swing into as well. Another one is basically with this, grab whatever you need for those special summon to anywhere on the field, so those Dustin special summons can help you out, kind of like a faster House Dustin as well, just because if you're sitting on destruction of, let's say, like Stygian Security, and you have that destruction, you can grab more to use, basically, to special out with this card than you would have if your opponent sees that House Dustin is already on the field, or even in cases like where all your monsters are destroyed, like Regeki, this card definitely comes in handy. And also 3 Just Desserts. This card makes the deck, when the field is full, this card's face down, burn your opponent for a lot of damage, then hope to go in for the kill with cards like Star Dustin or Goblin King. If you can't reach the full 8k with Goblin King because you couldn't get enough on each field because of the ones you drew, Just Desserts definitely helps with that extra burn damage. Same goes for the final cards of the main deck. 3 Magic Cylinder. When your opponent's riding low on those life points, they never see this card coming. So definite usage in this deck for that sole reason. You'll burn them down, and this is not the way they'll want to have gone out in the game. But that is it for the main deck. We'll move on to the extra. For Exceed monsters, easy ones. 1 Marah, the Star Bearer. If this face-up card be destroyed, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card instead. And level 4 or lower monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So protect your Dustons from those card effects if need be. Just a small option to keep in the deck if I have 3 level 1s on the field that I need to do something with if I don't want to go for the Link. But the Link is what takes up the majority of the deck. Also, 1 Lionheart, same basis, probably a better target than Mirai for a lot of different reasons, but still good to play. Same with Utopia of the Roots and Princess Sprite, just for those additional searches. But for the Link monsters, which are a big part of the deck, I run 2 Link Spider for the 2 White Dustin. I already talked about this card earlier, but like I said, put the 2 on your side of the field, and then give yourself the 2 Link Spiders, which are a bumped up version with 1,000 attack instead of 1,000 defense. 1 Master King Archfiend. The Dustin monsters are Fiend type, so make use of this Easy Link to build in the deck. Might even bump it up to 2. We'll wait and see, because you could go for, if you have the 4 on your field, this, and then another one if want, and then make use of its effects as well. Also, I have the Proxy Dragon in here. Set up your Link arrows and go with that from your monsters. The Akashic is also very helpful, since same type monsters, basically. And I also have the 1 Underclock Taker. And for the bigger monsters, 2 Decode Talkers. Actually, can go through 2, which is why I do like to run 2 in this deck. Are quite helpful. And also for the bigger ones, Gaia Saber, if you need that 2600. And for the Link 4s, 1 Topologic and 1 Borreload Dragon. Now, Topologic comes in handy a lot, mostly because make this with yours, Dustin, and then if you have the means to special summon another card on the field, have it point to one of the arrows, and then take care of your opponent's Dustins without having to make sure that they, link something with them. Now, the biggest thing would be if the House Dustin is destroyed by you swinging with it into your opponent's monster, and then you already went through your battle phase, you can't get rid of your opponent's monsters, but the Topologic Bomber Dragon, with its Link Arrow effect and destroying all the other monsters in the main monster zones, very, very handy when that comes up. It'll take care of their Dustins and then leave them with no resources while you have this 3,000 attack point monster on the field. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Twig out.